Welcome to Vulcan and Spock Days. An interesting venue here, maybe a little different than what you're used to in other conventions and things like this.
The thing that's great about this venue is Bob Picardo is here with me. And that, well, here he is, in fact. Look at this. You're so lucky to have him right here.
Are we in a two-shot now?
I don't know.
Can you see both of us?
I can.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot to handle on one screen.
It's a lot of bald scalp.
A lot of naked male
scalp. I'm having a fine time. The ginger ale is terrific.
Is this your first time in Vulcan? Did you know that Vulcan has 17 million inhabitants? Wait a minute. 1,700 inhabitants. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
1,782, according to the 1989 census.
It seems your facts are a little scrambled.
They're a little old.
Okay.
I know, so am I.
I know it's a smaller town than I'm used to, but I've been to Calgary, which is a pretty impressive city.
And but the people are very warm here. Have you noticed that?
They're all wearing sweaters. You'd be warm too. I mean, if you had on this kind of clothing.
And
you mean nice?
Very nice. I mean, friendly and nice.
Interpreting everything he says. No, they're very nice. Exactly.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
They're a lot nicer here than they are in Saskatoon. I'll tell you that much. And I don't even want to talk about the people from Regina.
I'd like to apologize to the people from Saskatoon and Regina right now. He doesn't mean that.
No. Having said that, I like Manitoba, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I like Winnipeg a lot.
If you put the man in Manitoba and the win in Winnipeg.
If I was as funny as you, I'd really have it made. I swear.
Trust me, you wouldn't. And I think I've just proven that. Now, were you guys finished? Because what I'll do is I'll bow out and come back later.
No, he was just going to ask me a few questions.
All right, well then you ask him questions, I'll come back.
Absolutely, no, stay.
He can kill two birds with one stone
and then we'll be done.
Exactly.
All right, so ask us a question.
Well, I guess obviously you guys are very familiar with each other, or have a nice repartee.
Actually, this is the first time we met. All the times we worked on Star Trek, were we ever in a scene together?
I don't think so.
Besides, he was harder to recognize, as I recall.
So a lot of blue screening between the two of you.
We've been friends. Our friendship long predates Star Trek. We've known each other since our
1977
early theater days. We were both young and active members of the New York theater scene.
That's right. Long time ago.
Back in the day when they had printed paper. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
I remember printed paper.
I remember having to go up to my agents to pick up the script.
I remember saying the word internet and no one knew what it meant back then. Remember in the 70s whenever you said, do you have internet here? And people just looked blankly at you? I remember that.
Really?
I do.
I remember back then that there was no internet.
Exactly. And you remember then when you had hair and girls looked at you?
I still have a full head of hair. I get this plucked. I have for a character look. But if I were to let it grow out, it would be a full.
He was a very handsome man when he was young. I know this because he's told me. But he actually showed me some pictures where he was surprisingly attractive.
Your wife commented on my looks in Ragtime.
When she saw him in the movie Ragtime, he was so handsome and slim and full of hair that she went, who is that guy and why didn't I meet him back
What does that mean now?
It just means that she's not that attracted to you now, but she likes you.
Okay.
She likes you.
This is just going to be like in a small little, I mean, this is not going to...
This will be heavily edited, right?
Heavily.
There's no point in running heavily, he says. You're behind the camera, you didn't see, you went like this, you went, heavily.
That's very funny. This will be heavily...
Yeah, because
heavily.
You're going to take out the interesting parts, which means it'll run approximately 8 seconds.
Right.
Won't be quite that bad, but I was asking Ethan about a convention like this or an event like this.
Yes.
It must be a lot different than what you guys are used to with the bigger conventions in the big cities. You know, much more people, maybe not as intimate. This is got to be a little.
I would say this is my first Star Trek event in a Legion Hall. Have you been in a Legion Hall before? I think it's kind of cool. There's a sense of, there's a feeling of respect. I took my hat off before I came in without anyone telling me because of the nature of the.
You knew to do that, yeah.
The venue.
I rarely wear a hat. So I didn't really have to worry about taking it off. But had I had a hat,
He wears a hat.
I would have taken it off.
He forgot to bring a hat. So he's making up this stupid story about how he doesn't wear hats. And the question of whether he would have remembered to take the hat off before he came in is completely up in the
This
air.
could potentially be one of the most fascinating interviews ever. I underline the word potentially, depending on if they get rid of every other interview ever been done.
Exactly.
Right?
And depending if this interview ever actually starts. Have we begun the interview?
Sure.
Here, let's do a time. You want to do a time fade? Here. Hi, I'm Bob Picardo.
Hi, Ethan Phillips.
And we're here in Vulcan, Manitoba.
Right? Alberta.
Vulcan,
Manitoba's close.
Let's start again. Hi, my name is Bob Picardo.
Ethan Phillips here.
And we're here in Vulcan, Alberta. Is that right?
That's right.
That was good.
That was perfect.
So you got enough?
That was no, well, not quite yet.
Okay.
Well, Bob, I guess one of the first questions I have is for you now. Is over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of folks from Voyager come up. Tim Russ was here in 2010. Garrett Long the last couple of years. I kept hearing rumors that you were on the list to come up. You'd wanted to come up. But the timing wasn't right. And had you wanted to come up before?
I remember when I came to the Calgary Comic Con in 07 or 08, and I heard about this. I said yes. I was first approached then. So I guess it's been about 5 years.
Somebody actually came over and
approached me and talked about coming to Vulcan. And first I didn't believe it. There was a place named Vulcan. And of course I assumed that you had been named after the Spock's homeworld and not after the god of war, the Roman god of war, right? And that Vulcan had actually existed from the beginning of the 20th century.
Who's the Greek god of Zeus?
No, he was the father of the gods. Who was the Vulcan? Who was the equivalent of Vulcan in the Greek? I don't know. We don't need to know that.
All right.
We're on a need to not know basis regarding that. But I'm glad that I'm finally here. Yeah, I mean, Garrett, I think, was instrumental in communicating that I wanted to come. Tim Russ is not really instrumental in much of anything. And I'm happy that I'm here with my dear friend Ethan Phillips because we enjoy each other's company in spite of all evidence to the contrary.
Well, one of the highlights of the weekend here for a lot of the folks coming down is the fact that you've written a play for the two of you.
No. We wrote it together. That's a complete mistake that I wrote the whole thing. I simply wrote the funny parts of the play. But we wrote it together with a third person named Ted Capoulis. He's not a Star Trek actor. He's not here, so we can ignore him. In fact, we could just drop his credit right off.
And at the end of the day, I guess the part of it is that you guys you reprise your roles in Voyager.
Yes, and we wanted to play each other's parts. Maybe we should do that here. Do you want to switch roles? No, we'll reprise our roles from Voyager.
Well, I guess the one thing for you, Ethan, you don't have to worry about all the makeup, I guess, eh?
No, he actually applies all the makeup. It takes about 4.5 hours. Is that true? He doesn't apply the makeup.
I didn't think so. Can you kind of give us, without giving it away, don't want to spoil it? I've been just a bit of the plot. What people can expect?
What people can expect? I think that they can expect to have their funny bones tickled mercilessly, right? I think they can expect one of the most self-serving, self-absorbed performances they've ever seen, where the fourth wall is not only broken, it's pretty much obliterated, and where we have absolutely no discipline whatsoever as actors.
Well, no, that's not true. We try to do justice to the play. It's just so silly. The play is just so silly that it's hard to take it seriously because...
Now, obviously, you've performed it before for other people.
We have performed it before. Probably, I would say we've done this play 30 or 40 times.
Nominated for a Tony last year.
It was nominated for several awards. In fact, we won an award that we refused, not just because we don't deserve it, but because we had no place to hang it. We have so much Star Trek memorabilia at home. There's actually one real moment in the 50 minutes that the play runs. There's one real emotional moment, and we hope that you.
It's such a stupid play.
Probably won't notice it. It's very touching. It's about Neelix and Ethan put together. By the way, if you've never tried it before, it's Ethan.
And Bob and the Doctor put together is Proctor.
It's about Neelix's home life Neelix is married. He has a couple of children. He has an issue within the family. He calls the doctor across his subspace beacon
Heavily edited,
transmission.
remember?
Heavily edited, and then he contacts the doctor, and they reminisce about old times, and the doctor beams over to help him out with a family problem. That's the amazing plot on which we hang literally hundreds of jokes, like beautiful shining Christmas ornaments on an over-decorated tree.
Don't blow too much. This is
Don't blow too much.
We
All
want
right.
to keep a little mystery
We'll
going.
cut all that out. Here,
Well, we'll leave it at that, so we don't give away too much of the plot.
No, I
Because it sounds
basically gave
absolutely
yeah.
fascinating.
It's like a movie trail. I just told you everything. Stay home. Don't come.
In a world of crap.
Well, again, obviously you two have embraced your characters. You've just said, okay, we've been in Star Trek. We're not going to fight it. We're just going to run with it.
Well, I think that it's one of those, if you can't lick 'em, join 'em. I mean, we joined a phenomenon that was in full swing at the time we joined for over 20 years, right? And it's like boarding a bus that's already gone 80 miles an hour. It's a shock when you get on, but once you're on, the ride is nice.
Well, yeah, talk about the ride that you've been on. I mean, the show ended, I think, in '94, right?
No, it began
sorry,
in 94.
Sorry, yeah, began in
You got us mixed
'94.
up with the other guys.
Right.
The other bald guy.
Because there was a lot of carryover, and there was a
We premiered in early January of '95, and we ended our run. Well, they offered us an hors d'oeuvre.
Now, I saw you on TV last night.
I don't see why we can't have food while we're doing an interview, right?
I'm sorry you did an interview.
You go, no, absolutely, you go right
I
ahead.
like one of the shish kebabs with the cheese and the. No, you don't have to go under the camera. It's okay. See, look at that. We're being so well treated.
I'm fine.
And thank you. I like the little curl at the end. Is that handmade, the skewer?
I think that's part of the skewer here.
It's part of the heavily edited.
Anyway, yeah, this is part of the heavily edited part. So, I completely forgot what I was
Well, you're
talking
talking about your early experience when you were in Star Trek when you started out and how you got on this big long ride.
We were talking about how we got on in '95,
Yeah.
and we ended our run in the spring of 2000.
2001.
Before 9/11. 2001. Right. So, and then after that, you enter the lengthy period of newly retired from the Star Trek franchise. Where
Although, to be perfectly honest, we've done a lot of work since then. It's nothing to do with Star Trek.
Absolutely. I played other bald characters, and I believe you have too.
I've played a lot of characters who are bald since then, both on stage and in film. And I'll continue to play bald characters unless the production companies are punishing me with a toupee. And then I'll play characters that aren't bald.
This will be part of the heavily edited part too.
Right. But,
Well, I guess as far as you, Ethan, one of the first shows I remember seeing you in was with another Star Trek alumni, which was Rene Auberjonois and Vince.
yeah, that was 1980, a long time ago. That was my first TV job, my second TV job.
What was your first?
I played a character in a soap opera in New York for, I guess they call it recurring. But it was not like Benson. I mean, it didn't have that kind of impact on my life.
When the time came and the Star Trek production team called and said, "Do you guys want to try?" Did you have to?
I actually tried to get his part. This is a true story. They asked me to read for the Doctor. The part was small and I didn't think terribly funny, so I went after his role and I tested opposite him and another actor. Didn't know that he was my competition, so I very nearly got Neelix. So it's kind of funny that I didn't even know that my old friend was my competition and that he eventually got it. And then I went back after that lengthy process and I went back and read for the original part they were interested in me for. So we have a kind of an odd history with how we came into it.
You also auditioned for my part in Benson.
That's another thing. When Renee and Ethan were cast in Benson, there was one actor who was asked to audition for both roles to test. Very unusual because they were very different characters, and that was me. So apparently I was not quite enough like one and not quite enough like the other, so I canceled myself out and they got the job. So whenever they ask you to audition for two parts, say no.
So again, it took a little while for you guys to get together to be able to work together on a regular basis. But your character, the Doctor, I mean, you're right. They started off maybe a smaller role. It was crucial to the scenes, but maybe not as much. But we got to see him over the 7 years through various plot
I
devices
didn't realize how much potential the character had because I was too ignorant about Star Trek and how they developed the artificial intelligence characters. I didn't realize that he was such a plum role. I just thought he had 9 lines in the pilot, and he was described as colorless, humorless, a computer program of a doctor, which didn't sound like a bucket of laughs for 7 years to me. But it turned out to be.
Well, I guess as an actor, you must have been very satisfied with the role as you grew. I mean, you got to see the Doctor do things, become more emotional, have relationships.
You know, he had a great arc. I think most of the other cast members agreed that since he started as a clean slate, he had the longest journey of any of the characters on the show. Now, I do feel somewhat that we're being bad guests at the party. We should rejoin the events here. So, do you want to ask a closing question to Mr. Phillips, and then we'll go bye-byes?
Absolutely. Again, just kind of giving me, if you could quickly, the legacy that you think you bring to the Star Trek franchise.
No idea. Absolutely none. I'm just part of the whole fabric, the great tapestry.
See, he is, what's the word? Dull? No, not dull. Honest, straightforward, and which leads to dull sometimes. But he basically tells the truth. Where I will weave an enormous ream of a pointless story, but I won't do it now because I've tipped you off as to my tricks, and I won't do it. But we're happy to have this opportunity to be together and to meet this warm group of people here up in Canada, and to visit a place that even though it didn't set out to be a tribute to Star Trek. The town has realized that it had a unique opportunity in being named after a very famous planet, honoring a very famous character from the Star Trek tradition, and you guys have seized the opportunity, and now we've seized it with you.